turned out the lights.
At Eggman's incredible Interstellar Amusement Park, you can feel comfortable knowing your safety is our #1.
Oh, shut up!
This might not end well.
And welcome back to more Sonic Colors. So last time we defeated Dr. Eggman, and this time we have to escape the amusement park in Terminal Velocity Act 2. It's not too bad. Again, it's just another like endless runner basically, except it has an end. Quick step basically, dodge the debris being lifted up, and you're good to go.
Sonic, are you okay? Man, I can't believe you made it through that.
Like you thought I wouldn't?
The only thing I was thinking about was getting pushed into an elevator.
Well, a hedgehog's gotta do what a hedgehog's gotta do.
Great job, Sonic.
Thanks, but I had a little help during that last part.
He said, thank you for saving us.
You're welcome. Thank you for saving us.
He says, you are welcome.
That thing's translating pretty good.
Yep, I finally got all the kinks out. We can talk to them perfectly now. Oh, great. He says, goodbye, my friends, I have to go. Just when I got this thing working.
Better late than never, buddy. Right on.
And with that, we have reached the end of another Sonic adventure. So this time, we have a playable credit sequence, which is nice because, spoiler warning, it's like 13.5 minutes. We're gonna be here for a while, but luckily I have a lot to talk about. First of all, I really liked going through this game again. It is probably one of, in my opinion, the best Sonic games. It's not my favorite because I have a lot of nostalgia for certain games. I love Generations, can't wait to get to that one, and have a soft spot for a lot of the adventure games, and even like Unleashed and 06. Even if 06 is not good. I think this is arguably one of the better Sonic games. Like, trying to take subjectivity out of it. Like, the controls work, the level design is pretty solid, if not a little bit linear at times. The story, I feel like it's a good balance. Like, it could definitely have been worse. It takes a bit to get going, because they spend a lot of time joking around. But for the most part, I think, the balance is there for a good story. You know, a lot of people like to say this game's plot is really goofy, but then, like, Chip from Unleashed, so, yeah. Unleashed kind of had a similar tone. This game ratcheted up a little bit, but at this point I don't think it was to the point where it was a problem. Graphics and sound are really good. I honestly think the music is great, except it's not quite as memorable as, say, the adventure games. I do like how each area kind of has a unique sound, lending itself to a very diverse sound in general. The voice acting, definitely like the story, I think struck a good balance. I like Tails and Sonic just being chill, because this is like the last game where that actually happens, because they barely interact in like Generations, and they don't really have positive interactions in Lost World, and they also barely interact in Forces as well. So yeah, overall, if I had to give this like a number score, I forgot what I said I would give Unleashed if I said I would give Unleashed a number score. Unleashed is like to me like a 7.5. As much as I like it, there are plenty of flaws that hold it back. This game definitely doesn't have that many flaws. Again, the controls can be a little weird, like the double jump can be a little off at times, a little heavy feeling. The lack of a normal quick step button or a drift button can be a little annoying at times, but it's nothing too bad. Like, unless you're going for red rings, the base controls will get the job done. It's not particularly frustrating. It's probably one of the best Boost Sonic games to start with. My weird order for Boost Sonic games is Unleashed, Wii, Colors, Generations, Forces, then Unleashed on 360 or PS3, because, honestly, like, Unleashed is the hardest one. The Wii version isn't that bad, and it's a good way to get into Boost gameplay for Sonic. Colors is kind of also a nice little breezy time. Same with Generations. Forces isn't great as a Boost game, but it definitely isn't difficult, and Unleashed on HD is brutal at times. So yeah, in terms of getting into the style of gameplay, this is definitely not a bad place to start. Yeah, don't start with Unleashed on 360. I felt like that playthrough only went as well as it did because I had played every other Boost Sonic game, and thus I had enough of an understanding of the basic formula to make it look easier than it actually is, and even then I died quite a bit. So yeah, this game is not... I wouldn't say it's even easy, because I remember on my first playthrough finding it a bit frustrating at times. But I think it's pretty well balanced in difficulty. I will say the lack of distinct order of progression does kind of make it feel like levels don't scale. It's kind of a Link Between Worlds problem, where it's like, since it can be done in any order, it's designed to basically be pretty much the same difficulty either way, which isn't bad. Link Between Worlds is one of my favorite Zelda games, actually, so I don't really mind that. I'm not really a big fan of super difficult games anyway. I say this as someone who got everything in Celeste except Golden Strawberries, so, for me, difficulty is very, like, I'm okay with easy games, I'm okay with hard games, as long as they're fair. And that's kind of my issue with Unleashed, is a lot of the difficulty feels a little bit cheap, because of just everything kind of blindsiding the player. So, overall, yeah, this would be, if Unleashed is a 7.5, this would be like an 8 to an 8.5. I want to say maybe 8. But it's in a different way. So the last playthrough I did is actually relevant to this discussion. This might be sacrilege, so I'm gonna preface this by saying that Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is one of my favorite games of all time. For many years it was literally the game I said was my favorite game of all time. Now it's more like top 3. So the best way to describe this is Sonic Unleashed is kind of like Thousand Year Door, where it has really high highs, but some pretty low lows on top of that. While Colors is almost more like the first Paper Mario in a way, where it's just a consistently nice little chill time. No real high highs, no real low lows either though, so it kind of averages out to be, in my opinion, the better made game, even if in some ways I think I prefer playing Unleashed. Like, the good parts of Unleashed I prefer over Colors. The problem is there's just a lot of not so good parts of Unleashed. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like with Paper Mario, I came away from that last playthrough for the Let's Play thinking that Paper Mario is the more consistently good game, but Thousand Year Door has such high highs that makes up for things like Kill Hall Key kind of dragging, or like the General White Hunt side quest in Chapter 7 of Thousand Year Door. So yeah, high highs for me can make up for some pretty low lows, and I feel like that's a big point of contention about Sonic Colors. It's just kind of consistently like pretty good, but doesn't really have too much that's like legitimately like outstanding, I think. At least personally, there's not a lot that really leaves me feeling wowed, or like, that was like really amazingly fun. A lot of it's just pleasant, and I think a lot of it has to do with how short most levels are, and you don't really have time to really get much of an experience out of some levels, because they were just too short to really have like big set pieces. I can kind of overlook it in this game because the levels are fun enough that it doesn't drag down the experience too much, the lack of, you know, really standout moments, but I feel like the Sonic fanbase has really changed their stance on a lot of games, and this happens a lot. Like, recently a lot more people like Unleashed than Colors, because I think a big part of it is Unleashed had really good character moments, Unleashed had really good gameplay moments that kind of compensate for some of the low points. The opening cutscene is fantastic, and the sheer production value of that cutscene represents an era where Sonic was trying to be really ambitious and adventurous and exciting, and this game was kind of the start of Sonic games becoming a little bit drier, I guess? A little bit more, safe? Like, this game is, like, safe. After how many risks they took that failed, between, like, Heroes to some extent, to Shadow, to 06, to Unleashed, they took so many risks, and a lot of those risks just didn't pay off. So this game, in a way, is kind of like a return to form, to just a very back-to-basic style. Like, we lost Amy. You know, the only two main characters that talk are Sonic and Tails, and then you have Eggman, Cubot, and Orbot as the villains, and that's basically it for characters. That's why, again, I kind of like the DS's story a lot because of that. And it's like, in this particular game, it's kind of, it feels almost more noticeable now, and again, I think this is the real sticking point to why people like Unleashed better, and a lot of the fan base likes Unleashed better nowadays. Colors basically set a precedent for forces to happen. Like, Lost World had kind of tried to go really light-hearted and campy, but was just kind of grating to me. Forces tried to go really serious, so a lot of Sonic games tend to be like reactions of what the last game did well or badly. So like, I feel like Colors doing well made them double down on various hijinks and humor. for Lost World, and it just doesn't really land. Assuming they were trying to be funny, because I just don't enjoy the story of Lost World. I feel like I'm really ragging on Lost World, but it's partly because I'm not gonna Let's Play it, so I need to get my thoughts on that game out of the way now. But then Forces was kind of like almost a reaction to that, where it returned to the boost formula, but in the same way that Colors did it, where it's very linear, very 2D heavy, and but also having a more serious story. So again, I feel like a lot of Sonic development ends up just being like, oh shoot, people didn't like this in the last game, so let's like counteract that by just going too far the other way, basically. I'm still a Sonic fan, I'm still gonna play the next games, hope they're good. I think we're actually getting to the end of the credits, so I should probably wrap up my thoughts here. There's still more to go in the game, by the way. So there will be a couple bonus videos of a few more optional modes and side things. Still no red rings, but I do want to show off one of the unlocks from red rings, oddly enough. But yeah, I feel like retrospect has definitely hurt this game, because you can see all of the things that make Forces so iffy. They kind of started here, but in some ways, I kind of don't hold it against this game, because it wasn't really this game's fault that Sega took the wrong message from it. Because that's definitely my interpretation of this, is that like, oh, they like boost games because Lost World was bad, so let's go back to Colors because that was the last game people really liked. I think even critically, Generations was slightly worse reviewed. But that's something else about Sonic as a fan base. Like, a lot of Sonic fans tend to go back and forth on what games are good and what games are bad. For example, a lot of people are starting to not like Generations as much because it kind of started the trend of nostalgia focus. Like, that's when they started just having Green Hill and everything. So because of retrospect, even Generations isn't as well received now, which is really interesting. But yeah, I think we are actually getting to the end of the credits, so I should probably wrap this up here. But yeah, we're not done with Colors yet. So, there was one more scene after the credits. Yeah, I should probably sign out here for now. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Sonic Colors.
Faster, you idiot! Faster! Put your backsides into it! Technically, we don't have backsides, boss. I don't care! Just push! We have to hurry! I already have my revenge planned out, and next time I will not fail!
Of course you won't, boss. Of course you won't. On the bright side, a certain someone got their voice back.
I feel like my own self! All I want to do is talk! Hey, remember when we were chasing those little alien guys? What's up with those things anyway? They sure were funny looking! Smell that though?
What I wouldn't give for the maddening silence of space right about now.
Sushi, hey, I heard they started using fish! Bummer we didn't bring any with us! Not that we can eat it since we're robots, but we could have looked at it! I love looking at stuff! I love stuff! The fireworks show game was great! Hey, how did you get all this stuff to blow up like that anyway? Loved it! By the way,